I'd like to discuss the most deadly sugar that you can possibly consume. We all know that sugar is bad for us, okay, in several aspects. And there's many different types of sugar, but the most common types of sugar, if we look at table sugar, high fructose corn syrup, honey, so all these items are made up of two things, glucose and fructose. And you really need to understand how each one affects the body. If we take glucose, for example, every single cell in the body can metabolize glucose. So glucose is really spread out through the entire body. But fructose, on the other hand, is a completely different animal. Only our liver can break down fructose because fructose doesn't really increase the blood sugars or trigger insulin very high, at least initially. So a lot of times people think it's healthier because it's low on the glycemic index, which is an index describing things that will raise your blood sugars. But here's the thing, when glucose hits the liver, okay, the first thing it's going to do is going to start building up your glycogen reserve. Now, that's the amount of sugar molecules that are all attached together as a stored sugar. And really, for most people, they don't usually have a depleted amount of glycogen. That's pretty much a substance that's sufficient in our livers. So, what's going to happen next is this fructose is going to then start to create a fatty liver. And with that comes a lot of inflammation, scar tissue, and damage in other parts of your body too, like in your arteries. This is why fructose is so bad for heart problems. And as the liver gets fatty, now you're going to start developing insulin resistance and problems with insulin and prediabetes and diabetes and metabolic syndrome, which is high blood pressure, high glucose, high cholesterol, and belly fat. You're also going to develop a lot of uric acid, which is behind gout and some types of kidney stones, as well as more damage inside the arteries, the endothelial cell layer that contributes blood flow to the heart. So even uric acid levels is a prediction of heart disease. So fructose as a type of sugar, it's a monosaccharide, which means mono meaning one, saccharide meaning sugar, even though it's low on the glycemic index, is very, very deadly. And on top of that, your body deals with fructose the same as it would with alcohol. And even when you think about what makes alcohol, it's the fermentation of fructose and glucose. So fructose is really a liver toxin. And if we look at all these items like honey, table sugar, beet sugar, high fructose corn syrup, all of those are about 50-50 fructose to glucose, but there's one additional sugar that has 85% fructose. And if you guessed agave nectar, you are correct. The agave plant in Mexico is what they use to make tequila, but they also process it to make this refined, highly processed sugar called agave nectar, which is very different than other sugars because it's so high in fructose. So I just wanted to give you this awareness on fructose and the dangers of what it can do to your liver. Now, if you haven't seen my other popular video on what would happen if you gave up sugars for 2 weeks, I put it up right here. Check it out.